So I have now watched every episode of The Witcher, Season 1. Hello everybody, my name is Tyler Stans, and this is what's playing tonight. So the original plan was to do 2 episodes of The Witcher per video, but as I was watching, I noticed some things that made it make more sense to me anyway, to just finish the series and then talk about the whole thing as a whole. So that's what I've decided to do. With that said, let's get into my thoughts on The Witcher Season 1. I'm going to start with talking about the cast. Henry Cavill makes a really good Geralt. He really shines in the series. He's got that gruff nature completely down. He really has a great voice for Geralt. Something I noticed from the video games is that Geralt has this deep, very stereotypically badass voice, and Henry Cavill does a similar voice in the series, and I think it works really well. The other 3 characters I want to talk about are Ciri, Jaskier, and Yennefer. Ciri doesn't get too much to do in this show. She spends most of the time running away from the Nilfgaardians that are chasing her, and I look forward to seeing more of her in Season 2, which it seems like we're going to get. As for Jaskier, I was a little bit on the fence with him at first. His character tends to clash with the dark, gritty theme of the show, but I grew to like him. He adds a lot of lightheartedness to the show, and I really appreciate that. I think he's funny. He's a good singer, which is good for a bard. That's the character he's playing, is a bard, so it's good that he can sing. As for Yennefer, I can't say that I was too big of a fan of her character in this first season, at least. She spends a lot of time being pretty selfish, and I know that she has good reasons to act the way that she does, but for the viewer like me, I don't think it was very compelling. I do think that the glimpses of her character arc at the end of the season were very interesting. I would be very upset if she shows up in Season 2 with all of the character development undone. I don't want her to go back to being selfish, because at the end of the show, she seems very changed by her experiences, and if they kind of double down on how she was throughout the rest of Season 1, I'm not going to be a big fan of the character. I'm sorry. I do think the actors give good performances. Freya Allan is very convincing, for example, as a frightened little girl on the run who has to remain strong in order to keep pushing forward. I think Joey Beatty does a good job as Jaskier. Like I said, he can sing, he's funny, he adds a lot of good comic relief to the series. Anya Chalotra, I think that's how you say her name, does a good job as Yennefer. I'm not a fan of the character herself, but I do think the actress did a really good job. Actually, when it comes to the characters, I think the whole Cintra crew is cool. I thought Queen Calanthe was very badass. I really enjoyed Mousak, the court mage of Cintra. They were fun characters to watch. In comparison to something like Game of Thrones, I was really happy to see The Witcher fully embrace the magic of its universe in a very comfortable manner. Something that frustrates me about Game of Thrones is I've been told that there's a lot more magic in the books, but the show downplays a lot of it until closer towards the end of the series. But by then, the series has its other problems. But that's neither here nor there. The Witcher takes full advantage of its fantasy setting with Geralt's signs that he uses to hunt the monsters themselves, the sorcerers with their portals and all their weird spells and illusions. It's a nice touch to the show that really sets it apart from some of the more gritty, realistic fantasies that have become very popular as of late. The 2 composers do a really good job with the music for the series. Their names are Sonia Belousova and Giona Ostinelli. They do really good. I really enjoyed. I thought the music was very fitting for everything that was happening on the screen, and I was pretty satisfied with the music in general. I do think the bard songs are also pretty catchy. The Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, I'd seen articles about that, but I'd never really heard it before, so whenever I finally got to hear it, that was nice. I enjoyed it. The monsters. I think that all the monsters that show up are very imaginative and creepy. They're like dark takes on classic fairy tales. The Striga comes to mind, or Striga. The Striga comes to mind, for example. Just the whole thought behind that is very disturbing. The whole baby growing inside of the corpse of the mother turns into this monster. I am glad Geralt and Triss were able to save that girl. That's very nice. But just like, it's like classic folklore meets dark fairy tale. I wasn't expecting to see anything as big as a dragon on the show, but that was a nice treat as well. If I have one complaint about The Witcher Season 1, I think it's a quite common complaint. The timeline for the episodes can be a little confusing if you don't notice what's going on right away. And what I mean by that is everything that's going on with Ciri seems to be happening in present time, whereas Geralt's adventures and Yennefer's adventures are happening in the past. But they're played side by side in the episodes, and you don't really notice what's going on until episode 3 or so. So the interesting thing at the end of the season was we had to have a whole episode where Geralt basically gets caught up to what's going on in the present day, and I'm hoping in season 2 that we can just keep it in the present day. If they want to do flashbacks every now and then, that's fine. But with everybody finally caught up to each other, there doesn't really seem to be a reason to have this mangled timeline. I get why they did it in season 1. You can't have episodes of The Witcher without The Witcher in them. So yeah, we need Ciri's backstory and everything, but we still need to see Geralt and what he's up to. So I understand why they did it, but now, like I said, hopefully with season 2, they won't feel the need to do that anymore. So I've been thinking about changing up my rating system into a 4-tie system instead of a 5-tie system. So that's what I'm going to do. From now on, max is 4 ties, 5 ties, it's out. With that said, The Witcher Season 1 brings a nice blend of action, fantasy, and even some horror to Netflix, and I really enjoyed it. I give The Witcher Season 1 3 out of 4 ties. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm also planning on watching the Witcher animated movie on Netflix, The Night of the Wolf, I believe it's called. So more on that later. I do plan on doing a video on that. Tell me down in the comments what you thought of Season 1. Do you guys like the characters? Am I completely wrong about what I think about the characters? Am I a little too harsh on Yennefer? Let me know all of those things down in the comments. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like me, consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, make sure to click that bell icon so you guys know whenever I put out a new video. Until next time, I'm going to go watch Night of the Wolf, and I will talk to you later.